Hey everyone, and welcome back to another YouTube video. So for today, you guys, I will be doing my 15 and pregnant story. A lot of you guys said to go ahead and do this one because I had posted on Instagram like what's the next video I should do, and a lot of you guys said me being my story about me being 15 and pregnant, which I was like, well, that's a good one. I'm gonna do that. So yeah, guys, so this is what I'm gonna be doing for you guys. I'm gonna be telling you guys about when I was 15 and freaking pregnant, like freak. Okay, guys, so I'm just gonna go off of the day like I do remember the most, because like I don't remember, it was like 5 years ago, you guys. Like my memory is like not that good. I'm just kidding. Okay, so so I started on this day where I was at home and like I was fine, you know. I was okay, but like just something about me was just a little off, and I was like, what the freak, you know. I was like, this is not me. I already know like something's wrong with me. But I was kind of like dusting off the shoulder. I was like, whatever. But I remember my sister had walked into the house and she was like, hey, you want to go to Target with me? And I was like, oh yeah, like, you know. I was like, okay, like, bingo, go, you know, because I felt like maybe I needed to get my mind off of things, you know. So I was like, all right. I was like, I'm gonna go with you. So then I go with her, and then we're going to Target and we're driving. Like the whole time when we're driving, you guys, I thought like maybe that was gonna help me, like, you know, like, how can I say, forget about how I was feeling and stuff. But no, like literally, like as she was driving and we were talking and like the music was playing, like I was getting like, at the time I didn't know what anxiety and all that was, you know, because I was only 15 and stuff, you know. But like I was feeling like anxious, like I was feeling like, well, like I feel like this was all too much for me to even be in the car and, you know, like hearing the music, hearing her talk, and just feeling what I was feeling, you know. So I was like, oh my goodness, like the whole time I was like, I just want to get the hell out of the car, I want to get the hell out of the car. And excuse my language. And well, that's what I was really thinking, you know. And then so finally when she parks, you know, we get that. Sorry, I like literally open the door, I get out real quick, and then I'm like, you know, waiting for her and stuff, and like trying to play it off, but like literally I'm like, oh my goodness, like something's wrong with me, I don't know what it is. So and so finally we go into Target, and like the minute we're in Target, like everything was just getting to me again, like literally seeing all the people and just like being in there. And I was just like, oh heck no, like I was telling myself like, I don't think I can do this, you know. I was like, oh my goodness. Like we walked right there, and then like I was like, I looked at her and I was like, oh, what are you here for? And she was like, oh, I'm gonna go get I think it was for her meal prep. I think I remember, yeah, her meal prep. She's like, I'm gonna get my stuff for my meal prep. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I'm gonna go look at this area. And she's like, oh, okay, you know. And so I was like, I'll meet you right here. And then she's like, okay. So then we split it up, and like literally I just said that because like I needed to get away, because like I was feeling too much. Like I was literally feeling like I was gonna pass out. So I go over here to the other area where it was like the baby, I'm not the baby, the swimwear section, like bathing suits and stuff. And I'm there, you know. I'm just standing there and I'm just like, what the freak is wrong with me? And like I started feeling like too dizzy, and I was feeling like, you know, like I just wasn't feeling right, you guys. Like I was feeling dizzy, I was feeling like I was gonna pass out. I was like, what the freak is wrong with me? So I was like, dude, like I had no phone. I was like, my sister literally just like went straight across the freaking store, and I went in this like area right in front of the store. So I'm like, how am I gonna get to her? Like I need to get to her, because like literally I was getting to the point where I was like, I'm just gonna tell her like I don't feel good, like I think something's wrong with me. And I did have a thought of me probably being pregnant because I didn't get my period, and I was already stressing about that. I was like, why haven't I got my period, you know, like, and stuff. And I was like, I haven't got my period, but I was like, I'm not gonna stress about it because I don't think like I could be pregnant, you know. But then after that, I was like, I think maybe that's probably why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. So then I was like, I'm just gonna tell her. And I remember like I was trying to walk to her, and I couldn't even go over there because I like how lightheaded, and like I think I was gonna pass out, you guys. Like literally I think that's what was gonna happen if I didn't like take care of it sooner than I probably like already did, you know. But like I was looking for her in the store, and I was like, where is she, where is she? And finally I found her, and I was like, Rachel, like I don't feel good, like I don't feel good. And she's like, well, what's wrong with you? And this is, I was like, no dude, I think I'm pregnant. And she's like, what? And then I was like, yeah, like I haven't got my period, and like I just think I'm pregnant. And she's like, oh my gosh. And she's just like didn't know how to, like, you know, she's like, what? And like, you know, her expression on like accepting it was like, I never thought we would ever talk about this, you know. But like, okay, like if you think that, like let's go get you a test. So she's the one with the money and the one like who can get it for me. And then I'm like, so can you give me a test? She's like, yeah, let's go get you a test. So we go to the pregnancy area, and like, well, not pregnancy area, but you know where they have all the stuff that where the pregnancy tests would be. So she got me one, and we paid for it and like that. And like I'm like hella awkward next to my sister, you know, because I'm like, oh my god, like she's older than me, and like what the frick, she's probably looking at me like, bitch, what are you doing out there, you know? So I'm just like, okay, hella awkward. So then finally we get in the car, we're coming home, and but like as we're driving, I'm like, Rachel, please, like don't tell mom nothing, like um like, just don't tell her anything. And she's like, oh, okay, like, don't worry, no, I'm not, just go in the bathroom. And we planned out how we're gonna do it. We're like, you're gonna run to the bathroom, you're gonna take the test, and like, if it is, then, you know, we'll see what we're gonna do. And I was like, okay. So literally, like, once we get to the house, I run into the bathroom, I take the test, and like, I'm like waiting, I'm like, oh my god, I hope I'm not, you know, because of how young I am. And literally, like, when I seen the lines, like, my heart was just like, I was just like, oh my god, like, I see 2 lines, but I don't know what this really does mean, because I didn't have the box. Like, my sister took the test out, so she kept the box. So when we went, it didn't look too obvious to my mom, because we had to walk right past my mom. And I come out the bathroom, and I'm like, Rachel, it has 2 lines. And she's like, dude, I've been looking at the box, it said that if it has 2 lines, you're pregnant. And she's like, you're pregnant. And I was like, literally, guys, like, I was just like, you know, like, I was about to cry. Like, I was like, how can I be pregnant? You know, I was like, what the heck? And I was like, I literally was like about to cry. And like, I couldn't, because my mom was like, what? You know, like, she came in like all like, you know, like, because like, we kind of walked in already I kind of like a tongue twister there. Like, we walked in so suspicious already, like, that, come on, like, how would she not know like something's up? And her knowing it, so like, literally, like, she's like, what's going on? Like, oh, and then what? You guys, he's playing the game, and he's super loud. Like, he has headphones, so like, literally, like, he doesn't even know he's being loud. But sorry, guys. So yeah, so anyway, so my mom's like, you know, like, what's going on? But like, the whole time I was taking the test, you guys, my mom was literally like already getting like, what's going on? Why are you guys acting like that? Like, what's wrong with you guys? You know, and stuff like that. And we're like, no, nothing. And I was like, I'm fine, and whatever. And then so anyway, so I'm taking the test, and then my mom comes, she's like, what's going on? You know, looking all suspicious, because we're like, you know, like, oh my gosh, you know. She's like, what's going on? And then my sister goes, she's pregnant. And my mom goes, what? You know, like, you know, just like, if you knew my mom by that expression, you'd already know, like, she's pissed. Like, what? She's like, step back and stupid. Like, what's wrong with you guys? And then I was like, no, mom, like, I'm pregnant. And I showed her the test, and like, I was scared to show her, but I showed her. And she was like, oh, Melissa. And like, she was just like, fuck, what am I gonna do with you? Literally, like, and I was laughing. I was like, I wasn't laughing, but I was literally like, dang, like, what are you gonna do with me? You know? And it, so like, she goes to her room, and I remember she's sitting on her bed, and I'm just there like, oh my god, I literally just like fucked up. Like, what was I doing? Like, you know, I just like, you can't do anything about that now. Like, it's, the baby's there, you know. So I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, what am I gonna do? Like, is she gonna be okay with it, or is she gonna be like an abortion, or, you know, like, just those thoughts were running through my head. Meanwhile, she's sitting on the bed, like, you know, thinking like, wow, like, what's going on, you know. And at the time, you guys, my dad was not home, because my dad was in jail. He was in prison, and so he wasn't home. Like, you know, you guys, like, I'm not gonna lie, God was with me, because if my dad was home, I think it would have been more crazier. My dad would have been like really, really mad. But because he was in jail, you guys, he didn't find out yet, but I'll tell you guys about when he did find out. Meanwhile, my mom's over here struggling, like, what she's gonna do, because she's stressed out more, I bet, because my dad's in jail. And she's like, how are we gonna even tell him, you know? And like, how does she even deal with this, you know? Like, her daughter's pregnant, like 15 pregnant, like. So I'm over here like feeling bad. I'm just like, I'm not feeling bad, more like, I'm like, what the heck am I gonna do? Like, literally, I was like, the worst was going through my head, like, I need to get out of here, I need to, like, you know, run away or something, you know. That's how I was thinking at the time. And I remember I gave her some time. I was like telling my sister, I think I went to it with my sister, and I was crying with her, and she's like, okay, well, you need to go talk to mom, let's go talk to mom. And I was like, I don't think I can do it. And she's like, you need to talk to her, and finally we went to my mom. My mom was like, what are we gonna do, you know, like, you're pregnant. And then like, she was crying with me. Oh, it makes me sad, you guys. But oh my god, I hope I don't freaking cry. What the heck? You guys, I'm such a baby when I do stuff like this. Okay, but anyway, so yeah, she's like, you know, like, crying with me, and like, I was just like, oh my god, like, I'm so sorry, you know, like, I didn't know what to tell her, what to do. And then like, I was literally like, you know, like, feeling so freaking bad, because like, I couldn't take that back, you know, like, it's already done. And then she's just like, Mija, like, it's gonna be a lot of like responsibility and everything like that. And I was just like, yeah, I know, like, like, I don't know, you know, but I'm just saying, like, I know, because like, I was just like, I don't know what to say in this situation, you know, like, it was all new to me, just like as it is new to her. And I was like, yeah, mom, like, I'm sorry. And she's like, yeah, Mija, it's gonna be a lot of responsibility, But she kind of like loosened up, and she's like, but no matter what, we're gonna be here for you and stuff like that. And I was like, I know. And she was like, you told Joey? And I was like, no, not yet. And she's like, you need to tell him, and like he needs to man up. And just like that topic where it comes where your mom's gonna tell you about like how he needs to step up and be the dad, and buy the diapers, wipes, and stuff like that. And she was just telling me like, you gotta mature now, because now you're gonna be a mother to a child and stuff. And I was just like, yeah, I know. And like that's what was making it like more anxious for me, because I was like, oh my god, like I literally just didn't know how to deal with the whole situation. I was freaking out. I was like, oh my gosh, okay, like I have a freaking baby growing in me. I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? Like at the time I didn't know, so I'm just like accepting everything she's telling me. I'm like, okay, I know, like I kind of messed up. And then I was like, sorry and stuff. And then my mom came around the corner, and she started being like more loving and supporting and stuff like that. So I started feeling better. And then like finally she's like, you need to make a test. You need to make an appointment. And I'm like, okay, like well, how to make an appointment? She's like, just call, make an appointment. So I called, made an appointment. She's like, you need to find out to make sure if you really are pregnant. And I was like, okay. So then I go to the thing, and I'm over here thinking like, okay, maybe I'm not pregnant, like maybe I have a chance, like probably am not pregnant. I was like, now that I say it, kind of sounds messed up, because I love my daughter to death. Like I'm so thankful for her, but literally at the time I was like, maybe I have a chance of not being pregnant. Okay. And I remember I went to the doctors, and then I'm like, okay, like this is the moment of truth, like the real moment of truth. So I'm waiting right there. To me, I was thinking like that, and like I was waiting for the results. And me and my sister had went, and at the time my mom was working at Parkview, and she was like, I'm gonna be at work, but once you guys are done, you guys come back to my job, and then we'll go home. And I go, okay. And so me and my sister, we go to the urgent care thing right there, and we go, and she takes my urine, she does the test, and she comes back, and she tells me like, oh, you're pregnant. And like the whole time when she said that, like I didn't hear her say it, that she kind of looked at me like, I just told you, like, you're not happy or nothing. And my sister's like, oh, like, like, oh my goodness, like, she's happy, and she's like, oh my gosh, you're pregnant. And I was like, oh, I'm pregnant. And she's like, yeah, you're pregnant. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, okay. I was like, okay, thank you. And then like I was like, and I looked at my sister, and she's like, dude, you're pregnant, oh my god, we're gonna have a baby in the house, oh my goodness, and all this stuff. Like she was happy, and I was feeling like, okay, like love, like it was like, thank you, like you support me, but like in a way I was just like, dang, I really am pregnant. Okay, like life is gonna be different. And just like the feelings I was getting to myself, like the personal feelings I was feeling, and the thoughts I was going through my head. I was just like, wow, like my life is really gonna be different from here on out. So then I was just like, okay, like I was trying to accept it, because it was kind of hard to accept that, like I'm pregnant at such a young age, and I have a baby. Like I was really like, dang. So anyways, I accepted it, and I was like, okay, that's fine, like I'm pregnant. So I was like, now we gotta go tell mom that I am pregnant, and like this time around when I went to go tell her, I wasn't all scared and stuff, but like I was like, mom, like I'm pregnant. It came up that I'm pregnant. She was like, okay. She was like, well, she's just like kind of got like, again, a little teary. She was like, but we're here for you, mija, like we love you, and you and the baby, we're gonna love you guys, and we're gonna be here no matter whatever it is, and I was like, I know. And like I just felt love and support from them, and I was just very thankful that it turned out like that, because I was literally expecting like the worst. I was expecting to run away or something, like I was probably gonna be one of those missing girls that run away for a little bit, not missing, sorry, a lot of people go missing, it's not me, but like, one of those girls that ran away because they don't know how to deal with it. I literally thought that's what I was gonna have to do, because I thought they weren't gonna accept me for, what was going on, but they were so loving and supportive, and I really thank my mom and my sister for that. So then it goes down to where I go home and tell my younger brother, you guys, and it's funny because he's so immature, and stuff like that. So when I told him I was pregnant, he's like, what? You're freaking pregnant? Oh, what are you doing out there? And I was like, oh my gosh, like I was like, dude, like, thanks, like, but anyway, so he just like was just like, really, you're pregnant? I can't believe you're crazy and stuff like that. But yeah, and then I went down to where we had to tell my dad now, so like that was the hard part, you guys, because he was in jail, and me being 15 and pregnant, like he's like not gonna be okay with it, especially if you know how my dad is. So finally he's in jail, and every time he would call, my mom would be like on the bed, like if he already knows, like he knows, like I'm sitting right there, he knows I'm pregnant, he's gonna tell her like, why didn't you tell me or something, like he already knew, but he didn't. So she'd be right there on the phone, like looking at me like it's him, and I'm looking at her like, okay, like like, are you gonna tell him? But we literally did not tell my dad until like I was like 9 months, you guys. No, 8 months, because when he came out a month early from when I was gonna deliver, so it was 9 months when he came home. No, 8 months, I think. Yeah, because he was home for a whole month, and then I had my baby. But anyway, so yeah, he came home. No, so anyway, so we're on the phone, and I'm like, okay, like every time I would talk to him, I'd be like, like we would be debating like every time he would call, like, should we tell him right now? Should we tell him today? You know, and I'd be like, you know, like no, no, I was too scared. And finally, I was like, we have to tell him one way or another, you know. So finally, I remember my mom told him, and he was like, what? Oh, okay, and like in his voice was so like calm and like words can't even explain how calm it was. He, like you could tell like he was hurt, but then like I can't even do anything. Like I'm in here, like oh my gosh, like what the heck, you know? Like I don't know. I wouldn't even know how he would feel. Like I would have to ask him too. That's so crazy. That like how he accepted it. Like he was just like, why? She's pregnant, and my mom was like, yeah, you know, like she's pregnant. Mom was like crying because my mom, I think we all cry, you know. And she was crying, and he was like, okay, well, tell her I love her and that you know everything's gonna be okay and we're gonna help her and you know just being very supportive. Like literally, guys, I don't think if my dad wasn't in jail, I don't think it would have turned out like that. But because he was in jail, I feel like he took it so much easier. Not easier because I don't know how he really took it personally, but like the way he came off, he took it very easy and like very like understanding, you know, like okay, like you're pregnant, we're gonna be there for you, we love you regardless, you know. And I was like, okay, like once we, I feel like we freaking had a freaking panic attack for no reason because literally when it came down to him like telling us, like it wasn't like what we expected at all, and we were just like, oh, like after we hung up, I remember we were just like, oh my god, like you know, like oh my god, like thank god my dad knows. Mom was all like, then she was being extra nice to me, like, Mija, what do you want to eat, and you know, and stuff like that. But yeah, and then it came down to we're like, how are we gonna tell our family, you know, because like that too, like I think like just telling everybody that I was pregnant and like getting their like opinion was kind of like the part where it was scaring me because I was like, you know, like some people are hard at judging, you know, so it's like oh my goodness. So I just didn't know what to expect. And then I remember we had to tell our family because like I'm sure I'm gonna be with a big old belly like you know later on. So it came down to when one of my cousins had came over, and it was my cousin Patty. She came over, and she's in the house and stuff, and I remember my mom goes, oh, like you know we're talking for a while having fun and stuff, and then my mom goes, you need to tell her, you know, like because we need to tell them eventually. And I go, oh yeah, I know. And then I remember she was like the first one to find out out of my mom's whole side. And we were like, oh yeah, like I'm pregnant. And she was like, what? Like, you know, her face expression was like literally like when it came off, it was like she was happy. She's like, what? You're pregnant? You know? And I was like, yeah. Like I was like kind of like I don't know how to be like so like yeah I'm pregnant because like I'm 15, so I was like yeah I'm pregnant. And she's like oh like oh okay. She's like oh well I'm happy and this is that, and she was being nice and very like supportive on that too. And I was like she was just like oh my goodness. And I remember she was trying to do like this little thing like where you know you tell the gender and stuff like that. And I was already like months too, and so I was like okay, well I felt better too that she found out. So I was like okay, like you know, but I'm still nervous and stuff. And then one day when it came down, you guys, this part was like crazy. So it came down to where we had to tell my aunts and stuff, and like I was just like I kind of didn't even want to tell them, like I'm not gonna even lie, like I was like no, because like my tias and them, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't be like oh yay she's pregnant, you know. I wasn't, you know. But anyways, I was like oh my god, they're probably gonna be like oh like this crazy little girl, you know, all this stuff, you know. That's what I was thinking they were gonna be about me. But anyway, so I remember there was a birthday party that was being thrown for one of my cousins, and they were throwing the party, and I had worn a big long pink dress, and then I was like oh okay, like they're not gonna tell I'm pregnant because like it covered my whole belly and stuff. Like it was a really loose dress. And then I was at the party, and like I was getting away with it because like nobody was like noticing I was pregnant or anything like that. I did have one person, I forgot who it was. Somebody did tell me like, "Oh, you're so glowing," and I was like, "Oh, thank you." And I took that as like a compliment, you know. I was like, "Oh, thank you," you know. But I guess like they say you're glowing when like you're pregnant, like you have like a glowy complexion, I guess. So I didn't know that, but anyway, so I'm over here like okay, like I'm getting away with it, but I started feeling nauseous and stuff, and I was like I need to go home. So my sister, she never really goes out to the party, she always like stays back and stuff. So I was like I'm going home, like my sister's home. So I went home, and but my cousin and my sister like this, they were really close and stuff. So she's like oh let's go. And I remember she walked home with me, and then because it was like down the street from my house, and we get home and stuff, and then I was like, I'm not feeling good. And she's like, oh, okay. She went with Rachel, and she's like, you'll be okay and stuff like that. And I remember I was like, oh, yeah. So I went to go lay down, and then I was like, no, I don't feel good. And I was like, I feel too hot. So I was like, I need to take my temperature. So I was like, Mom, I called my mom, you guys. I was like, Mom, do you have a thermometer? Like, I feel sick. I think I need to go to the hospital. And she's like, Mija, you're okay. You know, because she already knew, like, the symptoms of being pregnant. So she probably was like, you're okay, you're fine, you know. But me, I'm over here like, there's something wrong with me. I need to go to the hospital. And she's like, no, you're fine. Take your temperature. There's a thermometer in my cajon. And I go, okay. So I remember I go to her cajon and I'm like, I take the thermometer, like temperature, you guys, this is so stupid. And I guess like I read the thermometer backwards or upside down, something like that, where it was like 9 something something something. And you guys, literally I started freaking out because I thought I had like a crazy temperature. I was like, oh my god, like how am I so alive? I was like freaking to freak out. I was like, oh my god, I knew something was wrong with me. Like I was literally freaking out. And I remember I ran to my sister's room and I was like, Rachel, I don't freaking feel good, like there's something wrong with me. And looking, and I showed her the thermometer and she's like, dude, what the fuck? Sorry, that's what she's like, what the, you and the, you remember? But she didn't, she said it like that because she didn't want to tell my cousin that I was pregnant because she didn't know. So she's like, what the, that's dangerous for you and the and I go, for yourself. That's what she said. And I was like, I know. But then, like the whole time, like I was like, dude, like when she's talking to me, I'm like, you already told her, like I bet she knows. So I looked over and already she's looking at my stomach and me like kind of like, are you pregnant? Because that's kind of like what she's saying. So I'm like, oh my goodness. So I'm like, Rachel, what do I do? You guys, that's a chair. And I was like, what do I do? And she's like, I don't know, call mom. And I was like, okay. So I call my mom and I'm like, mom, I'm like, my temperature is so high. Like Rachel's even like, this is not a normal temperature. And she's like, you're fine. And she's like, and then like I heard my tia telling her, they're laughing, she probably read the monitor wrong. And then they're like, did you read that the monitor wrong? And I was like, no. And then my sister's like, she fixed it. She's like, the B word, you're 94.9 or something like that, or something like, yeah, something like that. And I was like, oh, like with the, I was like, okay. And I started calming down and I was like, oh my god, okay. So I was like, I'm just freaking out. So I was like, okay, calm down. So I calm down. I go back to laying down in the living room and stuff, and I'm laying down, and my cousin's like, oh, like, is she pregnant? My sister was like, yeah, like she's pregnant. And I was like, oh my gosh. So she comes in, she's like, you're pregnant, dude. Oh my gosh, Melissa. Like, she's like, how do you feel? Like, I'm so happy. Like, oh my gosh, like just the support she was giving me. I felt like a little bit more relief because I was like, okay, like she's not another person that knows. Okay, so I felt relief with myself. And then I wasn't feeling good, so I was like, I'm just gonna go back with my mom because I feel safer to be with my mom if something happens. So I remember I go to my aunt's, back to the party, and I'm sitting there with them, and I thought I got away with it. I thought they still didn't know, And I'm sitting there, and I have my aunt. She comes up and she like grabs my ear and like pinches it and like says like, Cabrona, why didn't you tell us you're pregnant? And I was like, oh, like literally when she said to you guys, I was literally like, I'm about to run, But I was like sitting there, I was like, yeah, like I was like, yeah, I'm pregnant, and like I was telling her and stuff like that. And like there, I remember she was like, come over here, come sit down with us. And then I went to go sit down with them at the table and stuff, and then they were just telling me like, oh my goodness, like you're pregnant, and like all this stuff. And like I remember, like I don't really remember much, but I remember like it was kind of like questions like, oh, like how do you feel, like how did you find out and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh, like telling them and stuff. And then I got to the point where like they were like, oh well, like that's a baby and stuff like that, well, are you excited? And I was like, when they said that, I was kind of like, what the heck, like I was not expecting, like I guess I could just say like literally from everybody that I found out and the way everybody's opinion what is I don't know why I get like this, you guys. I have to get used to the camera. Like they're you guys, my phone died, so like and I was just telling you guys. So yeah, so like literally when they found out, they were just very supportive, and they were just asking me questions, and they were kind of just like, wow, you're pregnant and stuff like that, why didn't you tell us and everything like that. And I was like, because I was scared and stuff. And they're like, oh well, and they were like, well, you're pregnant, huh? Well, like telling me basically like I need to grow up, and now I have a big responsibility and stuff. And I was like, yeah, I know. And then like I was just taking their advice and stuff. And I thank God for literally how everybody took their it, because some people can be very hard at their opinion and stuff, but they're very supportive, very loving, and I'm thankful for the way it did turn out. And you guys, I forgot to tell you guys about my boyfriend's side of the story. So literally, guys, I wasn't thinking, but anyway, so his side of the story was more like I kept telling him like I didn't feel good. I told him once I missed my period, and he was like, oh, you should be fine, I don't think you're pregnant. And I was like, okay, but then I was like, I still don't feel good. He's like, well, then go get a test and like, like let me know if you're pregnant or what. And I was like, okay. And like I got the test, like I did, and I took it, it came out positive. I remember I texted him, I was like, it came out positive. And he's like, what, like are you serious? And I was like, yeah. He's like, wow. He's like, okay. He's like, well, I love you, and trying to be supportive. But yeah, like he didn't come around, like he wasn't at the house or nothing. And I remember I was like, oh, okay, well, my mom wants to talk to you. And he's like, your mom? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay. I was like, well, you got it easy because my dad ain't even here. But I was like, yeah, my mom wants to talk to you. He said, okay. So then he came over. And I remember he came over, he walked, like, normally he comes to, like, the front door, but he literally went through the back, and, like, he tried meeting me and, like, get, like, away from my mom and stuff. My mom went to the backyard, like, she made it there before me, and she was like, you know, she's pregnant. And he was like, yeah, she told me. And he was kind of like, dang, you know. She's like, well, you better man up, you better get a job, and you better go to work. And, you know, I was like, okay, like, mom, relax, okay, you know. I was like, okay, yeah, like, but, you know, my mom feels the way she feels, you know. So I was like, okay. And then finally she's like, well, I'm gonna help you guys, but you need to get a job, and I hope you guys stick around, like, you guys are gonna stay together and stuff. And then we were just like, yeah. And, like, you know, and then came off to the point where she was like, okay, well, you know. And, like, she was like, well, okay, I love you guys. And then she kind of, like, walked inside, and then we were just right there, like, Joey was like, dang, you're really pregnant. And I was like, yeah, like, I wasn't playing around. And he was like, oh, okay, like, you know, he was kind of, like, shocked himself. Like, I bet he felt like how I felt, but then he kind of took it a little different, because he, remember how I was talking about how I probably would have been the one to run away? No, he kind of did it, because he not run away, you know, but he, like, went a little, he went ghost on me for a little bit. And I was like, where did he go? Like, I was calling him, he wouldn't answer. I was texting him, he wouldn't answer. And I was like, is he okay? Like, what happened to him? And then finally I remember, because he didn't go home, his mom came to my house, and she's like, pulls up, she's like, and I'm like, his mom's here. I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, did something really happen to him? And then I was like, okay. So my mom was like, oh, his mom's here. And I go, yeah. And she's like, okay. So she went outside, and I remember she was like, oh, you know, like, yeah. And she goes, is Joey here? And then my mom goes, oh, no, he's not. And then she was like, oh, okay. And but I remember my mom was like, I'm not gonna let you go yet, because I was like, tell you, you know. I was like, she's pregnant. And his mom goes, what? And she's like, yeah. And mom goes, yeah, she's pregnant. And his mom was like, oh my gosh, you know, kids having kids. His mom's opinion was a little bit more, like, you know, different than everybody else's, but you know, it's everybody's opinion is different, you know. But she was like, oh, like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, kids having kids, and oh my goodness, like, he's not mature yet. And I was just like, oh my goodness, like, I was just there like, what did I get myself into? And then so then, like, they kind of, like, talked it out, and they were like, okay, you know. And she was like, well, I gotta talk to Joey needs to mature real fast, because that's a baby's life and everything like that. And they were just talking, and then came to agreement where it was like, okay, you guys, my phone keeps messing up, I don't know why, but basically they came to agreement where they're like, okay, like, they're gonna have a baby, you know, we gotta support them, we gotta be there for them, and basically, like, you know, get them going so they could raise this kid right, raise their baby right. And so yeah, like, finally he comes back. Oh, like, literally right when she was about to leave, he pulls up, and he was riding his scooter, and she's like, Joey, and, you know, she, like, tells him a bunch of stuff right there in front of me, like that. And I'm just there like, oh my god, like, he's getting yelled at in front of his mom, you know. He's just looking at me like, you know, like, heck awkward. And then I remember I was like, where did you go? Like, what the heck, what's wrong with you? And he was like, oh, like, he's like basically it was like too much for him and stuff and like that. And I was just like, oh my god, like, how do you think I feel, you know, like, I'm the one to carry the baby and stuff. But anyway, so I'm just looking at him like, you can't be doing that, like, dude, like, we were about to go looking for you and stuff. And he was like, oh, okay, well, like, his mom knew, and then my mom knew, and then, like, so we kind of felt like more like comfortable, like, we were like, okay, like, it's off our shoulders, because, like, literally I think that's what we were like really stressing about. We're like, dude, like, how are we gonna keep that a secret from your parents, you know, like. So it was a relief, and finally he was just like coming around more. Like, I wouldn't say like he left, like, we didn't like split up or nothing like that, like, but he like was like not coming around where he was like being shown, because I feel like he was scared of my mom still and stuff. But yeah, you guys, so that was his reaction to it. And yeah, you guys, but now we have our beautiful daughter. She's 5 years old. This is like 5 years ago of a story. And yeah, like, my daughter, she's beautiful, she's healthy, she's strong, she's amazing, and I love my daughter. And literally, if it wasn't for her, like, I don't know where my life would be without her. Like, literally, it's like crazy. Like, I love that little girl with all my heart. And I do have another little baby, so I'll be telling you guys about her birth story. And yeah, and if you guys want to see how my other stories turn out, because I am going to be doing my delivery story about Sophia and stuff. And if you guys want to hear how that turned out, just continue watching and stay tuned for the next video. And if you guys watch this video all the way through, thank you guys so much, and I love you guys all, and I hope you guys all have a beautiful day, a beautiful life. And till next time, bye. Thank you for watching.